There it is, our Ferrari 360 Spider. Our good friend Shores is here. He also picked up our Lamborghini, almost from France, and today he's helping us again to pick up the Ferrari. We are super excited to start the project since the engine is broken. The Ferrari was so low that we first had to pump up the tires to create a bit of height between the bumper and the tow truck. And we also had to use a piece of wood to actually get the car a bit higher. Once we got the Ferrari onto the tow truck, which we were super happy about, Shores secured the car really well on the tow truck so it wouldn't roll off. And we immediately left for the workshop, so excited to start this project. I hope you are too. So don't forget to subscribe and like if you think these kinds of projects are super cool, because starting in January we're going to upload more often each week, guys. Fortunately, unloading was a bit easier, since the height difference between the bumper, the car, and the trailer was lower, so he could drive it off right away. Alright guys, we're here. I'm extremely proud of us for bringing in a new project again. This isn't just any project, it's a Ferrari. First a Lambo, now a Ferrari. Completely mind-blowing, we wouldn't be twins. Television if we didn't take a huge risk, just like with the Lambo. The Lambo was a huge risk, but luckily we managed to pull it off. This is another project where we've really taken a huge risk. Namely, we haven't heard it run. We've known this car for quite a long time, since we were 16. This car has actually been sitting here on the property where we rent our warehouse for about that long, and we've always told each other, never buy this Ferrari. I don't know why, but this thing has always basically been outside, or kept in a container, and the previous owner drove it about 1,000 kilometers a year. Pretty much nothing. And you can assume that if a car like this is used so little, there are probably some issues with it. The story is as follows. This owner drove about 1,000 kilometers each year, so in 12 years, he drove about 12,000 kilometers. And then there was a problem with the engine. The problem is as follows. The car runs irregularly. That's what we were told. The owner then took it to a car garage, and they determined that it might be a head gasket issue. But he wasn't sure about that either. But one thing that is certain is that when they drained the oil, instead of oil, coolant, or some water residue came out. So they're still not sure if it's a head gasket or if there's just a crack in the engine, which means, yeah, this Ferrari engine has to be thrown away. Yeah, and that's the risk we took, so we bought a Ferrari without hearing it run. The previous owner did tell us that the car just starts and drives. But the reason it's not possible right now is simply because it's been standing still for a long time, and the battery is a bit weak. Besides that, of course, the garage has taken the car apart, so if we just open the engine bay for a moment, Don, because that's also a bit different than with the Lambo. Yeah, of course, it's all something we have to get used to, but here we have a lever. If you pull it, the trunk opens. And then we get to the almighty V8 instead of the V10. Just look at how much space you have. We're really not used to this because the V10 completely fills the engine bay. Hoisting the engine in and out was just hell. Really a hellish job, And maybe you've already noticed it too. We're missing a very large part of our exhaust system here. Of course, this isn't an open space, but here the workshop, or at least the garage that worked on it, has removed the exhaust. I don't know why. The head gasket is over there and the exhaust is here, but it doesn't matter. We should have that included. So that brings us to the next question. What exactly did we get with it? Well, the previous owner actually told us that. Everything that comes with those cars is in the front or in the trunk, because that's in the front with the Ferrari. And I'm actually curious if everything is correct, if we have everything complete and if it's all there. Absolutely. I'm totally hyped. Nothing can ruin my day now. I think this is really the content you've all been waiting for. And yeah, us too, of course, because we're super hyped to be able to do these kinds of projects together with you. So if you haven't subscribed yet, take a moment to subscribe, because 54% of our viewers haven't subscribed yet. And this is another project you definitely don't want to miss. So what you just said is, there should be all kinds of parts in the front. We just talked about it. Indeed, we saw some parts lying around, but we're going to go through with you what exactly is there. And when you see this, a tow hook, it usually doesn't mean anything good. Yeah, I heard him. Great. This is also new, but we've got it. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. We should first tell viewers what kind of car this is. This is a Ferrari 360 Spider Modena. Is that right? Modena Spider? Guys, we're not Ferrari experts nor Lamborghini experts.
Not yet.
Not yet, but I dare say we're willing to take the risk.
If you receive a car in parts, that's already a sign
That you shouldn't buy a car again. That means someone else has already worked on this car.
And maybe we haven't been told the whole truth, and they think, I'll just give up and pass it on, because then it's not my problem anymore. Well, and then we come into play again. The twins are buying another car that's in pieces, one we've actually never heard running. I'm just really curious about what all came with it. At least I already see a battery cover. It's nicely on top.
Yeah. Also, a piece of the footrest plate, that's what it's called, right? The one all the way at the back by your feet where your battery is. So that's included.
We have a box with it.
With all original gaskets from Ferrari. Look, that's good.
Exhaust bits.
Okay, wait. Now I think they installed that exhaust then, because they
Disassembled.
took it apart since they're replacing the gaskets. Maybe they were just leaking. So yeah, that's why they ordered new parts. Well, that's a lot of parts. I see Ferrari logos, so it wasn't cheap. But I also saw this again. So if you're taking things apart with this, if these are the things you're disassembling, then I get why you'd want to put in new gaskets and stuff. Because yeah, you can't really put this back in. The gasket is literally falling apart and it's really rusted. I hope the car isn't as rusted as this looks, because then we really bought a lemon. And that doesn't make you happy. Just to give you guys a bit of an idea, actually. Where the car came from now, it was at a car dealership, and it stood in the showroom for 2 years, indoors, heated. So that's definitely an advantage, but the fact that it hasn't been touched for 2 years does make me a bit uneasy. Because yes, that does say something about the risk, yes, the factor that we have taken. For us, of course, everything is content. This might be solved quickly so we can move on, or it could turn into another years-long project, which I don't expect. But you never know, because it's a Ferrari, and then we're left holding the bag, and that's something I'm not looking forward to. But we wouldn't be twins. Television if we didn't take on the challenge. Yes, there are also 2 inner panels. Goal box, yes, goal box inner panels. What are those things called? Look, I can already see the exhaust. This is the exhaust that we're missing. Let's take it to the back. Yeah, exactly. As you can see, we have open spaces here, and these fill the gaps. She'll be here soon. And of course, we're still missing our big back box, of course, the silencer, which should also be in there. No, it's not here.
These are the catalytic converters.
But where is the back box then? We did have that, I did see it. So where is it? Is it still possibly in the van? Could it be in the back?
That could very well be, yes.
The biggest advantage is that the owner has basically guaranteed that the car is complete, so you don't have to spend unnecessary money on buying parts, because you just know that the car has been delivered complete. And there's one thing we haven't seen yet, and that's the radio front panel, but that's not such a big problem. If all goes well, we also have the Ferrari radio somewhere, the original one that belongs with it, so yeah, Ferrari logos everywhere. Sick, right? Really sick. Hey, look here, booklets. One thing that's super important is the history of the car. Plus, that gives it a huge added value. Because if you don't know how the car has been serviced or what the history of such a car is, the new owner might not want to take the risk of buying this car. So the fact that we have those is absolutely great. Even more junk. What's that red one?
Bagged with, I think this might be a car cover or something like that.
It is Ferrari though. It's not a car cover, it's too small for that. I think it's more like something for the seats or something.
Yeah, seat cover's sick. Oh yeah, look, a steering wheel cover. Are you serious?
If this wasn't an Enthusiast, then I don't know what is. This is really sick. Just to put your car away for the winter with seat covers and steering wheel covers. Sick, guys. Can you imagine twins, television as Ferrari fans? We've never done this with a Lambo before. Covered up like this. Shall we check if the roof works?
Yeah, I'm really curious if it works, because, well, yeah.
What's the use of the spider if the roof doesn't work?
Exactly. Shall we close this one first then?
Yes. Let's close it all the way, yes?
As you can see, the bumper is still completely loose. That's because the exhaust has been removed, and of course the bumper needs to come off for that.
The brake discs are extremely rusty because the car has been standing still for a long time. The brake pads are just worn out, but the brake discs themselves are still kind of okay. The tires are really extremely dried out and they're shiny with tire shine because of course the car was in the showroom.
You can't drive at top speed on the Autobahn with these tires. They need to be replaced.
This one, however, has significant curb damage and once again completely rusted brake discs. It hasn't had an inspection for 2 years, so yeah, that also says something about how long the car has been sitting still.
And if the problem had been that minor, I think the owner would have just fixed the car. At least, with a logical mindset, you would just fix the car if it was something really minor. Yeah, if the cost just gets too high, sometimes people just choose to sell the car. And then 2 guys come along who say, yeah, we're just gonna try to save it no matter what it costs. Just take the risk.
And we don't say no, because as you know, that Lambo was really badly burned, and it took us 2 years to get the car to the condition we got it in.
But anyway, new project, new opportunities.
And definitely another challenge that we won't shy away from.
Yeah, the car doesn't really have a lot of damage. On the other hand, it does have some small dents in a few spots, which I think can be taken out. The paint isn't damaged, so a professional can probably push those out from the inside. That's not us. We're still amateurs who think we know what we're doing. But you guys in the comments often know better than we do, so let us know in the comments what you think about this, or if this is the kind of content you enjoy. And yeah, is this something you even want to see? An engine overhaul? Or just let us know what you think it is. Because the problem is actually with the irregular idling and of course moisture in the oil. So let us know in the comments what you think, what we should do as the next step. We don't want to break the engine if it's still working, and if it's already broken, it can't get worse. So yeah, shall we operate the roof now?
Yeah, I'm curious if the roof works. We've already had it on the trickle charger because that car has been standing still for 2 years. And the garage where we picked it up.
They put it on the trickle charger for us the night before, which is super nice, but I'm really curious if the roof works. I do see some wrinkles in it, but I think over time it'll straighten out again or something. By the way, this will be the first time we ever operate a roof on a Ferrari, so how does that work?
I'm going to turn on the ignition. Can I have the camera from you for a moment?
I hear things in the back. I think it's the automatic system.
He says, check, okay, and 85,000 kilometers, guys, and half a tank of fuel. I'm going to operate the roof now since I have all these buttons, so I'll hand it back to you for a moment. The new camera.
My new camera, again, new project, new camera.
Tell us about your camera. Which camera did you buy?
I have a new Alpha A7 Mark III or something like that, Sony. Sick thing. It's got a crazy fisheye, but I'm just curious, does the roof work?
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. What does this mean? That something is going wrong?
The other way? I did hear something happen.
No, that's this little flap. Because that's also something Ferrari does. Everything has to be electronic. What's in here now? Candy. Are they expired? Yes, 2020.
How does the roof work then? Maybe the car needs to be on the handbrake first.
Foot on the brake, handbrake, now the roof.
Don't start it again, okay?
No, definitely not.
Just the radio and electronics.
Look, now we have more lights on the dashboard.
Here we go.
Let me just close the door.
My door is closed.
So vague.
Maybe I should fully close my window.
I don't think that's...
Maybe it just doesn't work. That's possible too.
Of course, it's also possible that it just doesn't work, unfortunately. So in this episode, we won't find out if the roof works, but don't worry. In the next episode, we'll find out, because I'm just curious. If that option doesn't work, then we might as well just throw this Ferrari away.
Who would want to buy a Ferrari in the future if the roof doesn't work?
Well, Don, can you adjust or not?
Yeah, what I actually can't get used to is all these buttons. This one doesn't work, so we need to check that too. Yeah, that's really one of those little things, huh? The twins bought something again. Those sticky buttons everywhere. It's really not normal. Everything is super sticky. If you have any tips on how we can fix that, that would be really welcome. Look, zoom in on this for a second. Here you can really see what sticky buttons are. Alright guys, so this is not good, and of course the engine, that doesn't work anyway, so that's something we're going to investigate in the next episode. Since we don't have the resources and equipment to actually investigate that right now, we'll do that in the next episode. They're drilling through the wall next to us for a while. Sorry, but we can't do anything about it. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Starting in January, we will be releasing 2 to 3 videos per week. What a noise. But that won't spoil the fun, because we're excited, guys, to take on another huge project. As you can see, it's a Ferrari with all kinds of issues, a lot of things that don't work, and a huge risk. If you want to be part of this, don't forget to subscribe, and you'll see us in the next episode, where we'll dive a bit deeper into the Ferrari content, and maybe even talk about Ferrari in general, wear Ferrari caps, and really get into the Ferrari vibe. I'll see you there.